Welcome to FCC Supporter Square, the show for fans, by fans, and about fans. Here's your host, Mark Suffin and Matt Warman.
So, hey everybody, it's a Thursday. That means we are recording FCC Supporter Square. I am so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be anywhere, quite frankly, given my age and size. I'm happy to be in front of you guys for the next 30 to 45 minutes. And hey, I've got my ride or die back, Mark Suffin. Mark Suffin, how you doing, brother? Let the world know what's going on.
Well, hey, Matt, certainly appreciate you and certainly appreciate finally getting back on here. It's been I'll just say a sort of a rough couple of months here. Um, as many in the brigade know, and I'll just let the rest of FCC world know, I contracted a heart murmur, was diagnosed back in 2020 with that heart murmur, and it has now become severe. What means is the valve in my heart is not closing as it needs to do, and it being severe means that it's not closing even more. So surgery is imminent, and it will be occurring next month. And I certainly appreciate everyone's thoughts, prayers, and support that you've been giving to me. Obviously, with this, there's been a lot of, yeah, I've been quite fatigued, even more so in the last month or two. So that's what's caused this, me not to be on so much, and that pesky work thing. Uh, but Matt, obviously, this picture behind me is my thanks to you for being all that you are for this podcast and for everything that you do. I think this is the third time that you've actually walked backwards at the Cincinnati St. Patrick's Day parade. Who can say that they went on a parade and didn't walk forward? They walked backward. And not only once, but three times now. You're out of this world, my man. You're out of this world. But it wouldn't be Matt Warman if he wasn't doing something that nobody else could do. So
I can tell you, A, thank you for the adoration. B, it took me about 2 days to recover because not only was I walking backwards and my quads were sore,
yes.
because I'm, as you can see in that picture, for those who are watching it on video, I'm not skinny, but and not short. But I was also holding a sword walking backwards
Yep.
for a mile, plus kids running like right underneath my legs, and I had to go, don't kill him, don't kill him, don't stab him, don't, nope, nope, that would not look good. Um, so it was a great time, was had by all at the St. Patrick's Day parade. I missed a lot of you guys. I saw about five or six, maybe more, out in the stands. A shout out to Tommy G. I saw him at the kit reveal. I said,
Yep.
"Will I see you at the St. Patrick's Day parade?" He's like, "I'm not sure." And I'm walking by. He goes, "Hey," pointed me out. I waved right at him. I saw you. I saw Meebs. I saw a couple others that I'm trying to remember because it's been a week. Well, for me, it feels like a week. But thanks everybody who came out to watch or march or any of that fun stuff. So let's get into FC Cincinnati. I'm so happy everybody's here. We do have a guest besides Mark is back. We also have a guest, Richie Baker. Say hi, Richie.
How's it going? How's it going?
Fantastic. It is a Thursday. I'm so happy to see you. So we'll get into his perspective in a couple of minutes, and I think is a very interesting perspective. But first, we're going to talk about last week's game. The two games, if I remember correctly, that we played was the Thursday night 2-1 loss at Monterey.
Yep.
In my mind, those were the two best games I've ever seen FC Cincinnati play. Uh, Monterey is arguably the best team in North America at this point, and we went toe to toe. Sadly, we did not win. I think the general consensus, I'm not going to try to bias you, but the general consensus was, yeah, okay, we lost. Now let's move on and win the MLS Cup. Richie, what do you think about that?
Okay, so to me, CONCACAF was a very new thing for me. I guess it was new for everybody this year, I guess. But I really kind of had no idea what was going on because of my unique perspective. I was learning as it went along. I was disappointed. I didn't quite have the hatred or the love for Vasquez that everybody else does because I'm not nearly as attached from my perspective. So I had a little more hate in the stands. I think than some of my friends with him not being on our team as opposed to being on our team. But I mean, it was a tough loss. It was what it was, but you know, we have a long season ahead of us. So
we're going to get more into it, but Richie is a brand new fan who is in the Bailey, and we'll talk more about that and that, what that perspective is. But Mark,
right.
What did you think about the Monterey loss? How did you feel about that?
You know, I was expecting a good showing down there, and by and large, I think we got that. Certainly, you know, the 2 goals they scored, and ultimately, the player that took us down was in fact Brandon Vasquez. You know, you couldn't write a better script for soccer in general than to have, you know, our former player and our former star, MLS, you know, all-star U.S. Men's national team cap while with FC Cincinnati, now with Monterey in that environment. You know, you couldn't write it any better. Certainly happy to see Lucho. What a beautiful goal. You know, you just can't, only Lucho can do those kind of things. Obviously, he did it against Charlotte last year, but that, you know, you just don't knife your way through Monterey defense and get a goal like he did unless you're Lucho. So happy that we showed well. Obviously, we did not advance, but you know what? You know, who had a team as strong as Monterey against them? We did for sure. Nobody else did. So I'm proud of our team. This was the first entry into this CONCACAF Club Championship. I hope it's absolutely not going to be our last. So I'm just hoping maybe, you know, next year we get back and we're going to even have more fun.
Right.
I'll tell you what, it brought the best out of that team. That team is still gelling. I've noticed it in our 2 draws at home. Is that they show very faint glimpses, but they're glimpses. They are not. This is not for fans that are worried or not patient. They go, oh, they're not scoring. This is just like 2021 all over again. It's like, no, you can see them making special runs and making special moves. The ball just it's just passed a little behind. The ball was a little late. The ball was just not quite hit too hard, just a little too soft. Not sure where everybody's supposed to be precisely, but the movement that they're making and the strides that they're going, it's like, yeah, it's not going in the back of the net. One of these games, every shot's going to go in the back of the net, and everybody's going to go, "What happened?" It's soccer. That's how it works. But having to play the best competition is bringing the best out of them, and it's only going to be, that whole competition is going to be just great for us. Like May, June, July.
Yeah,
most certainly.
And Miami's in. They can get their selves handed to Monterey, and Messi could get tired, and Suarez could be tired, and it all works out for me as far as I'm concerned. Then we had a quick turnaround from late Thursday night Pacific time, Eastern time. It was what, like 12 o'clock or something like that. But late Thursday is when they ended, to a Sunday afternoon in Boston. They had to fly 7,000 miles already. I mean, it's crazy. Lucho is out the first half, is kind of a listless. First half for both teams. There were some half chances for both teams. I thought Celentano played well. Lucho comes in, and I keep saying, I yell at the TV at the moment I said Lucho doing Lucho things, just like Monterey. He comes in within 30 seconds, the ball's in the back of the net, and Lucho is pulling it out, putting it back in the center line, going, okay, let's go, more. Yep. A very tight offsides. I think technically it was offsides, but it's just, that's a weird way to get an offsides coming back, and it's not really has anything to do with the play. Strikers got to pay attention though. And then a third goal, Lucho doing Lucho things again, noticing that nobody's underneath. End up with a 2-1 victory. Richie, what did you think about Sunday afternoon's game?
You get to see some of the newer guys coming in there, starting at the beginning of the game and allowing them to keep, you said it was kind of, I feel like it was a win for them because they didn't get scored on. So, Lucho comes in and immediately does a cost of things. Everybody's questioning the MVP. Well, there's your MVP. I see that a lot in the last couple of weeks, just in the little chats and whatnot. And I'm like, this is game 4, we got these guys learn and be together, like you were saying. I mean, I 100% agree with you. A couple of weeks ago, Baird slid into the goal, and I mean, he was, I think it was the week you were down in the Bailey. I mean, he missed that goal by inches. I mean, 6 weeks from now, that goal's going in.
Looking good. So what are your thoughts on Sunday, Mark?
Well, obviously, MVP, he's still doing MVP things. And what intrigued me was how many different angles you could find of Lucho's goal. Obviously from Apple and the club, you saw the one from opposite. So everybody was this far away. It was really small. You could barely see the guys jump. And then you saw another one that was on closer, and then I got the one that was behind the goal. I mean, right equidistant with Lucho, and you just saw all the guys just jump up in unison, and there goes the ball right under. It was just neat to see all those angles. There was even one over at near the corner flag that somebody else took. That was even better because you had the whole scene at once. It's just that amazing. He can come in, he can take a lackluster first half and, even on short rest, just impact the game like he can. Was worried when he came in, but that all the worry went away, as far as his impact to the game. Sad to see more yellow cards. I don't want a repeat of last year with so many players getting, maxed out on yellow cards and possibly, red cards during the match, due to 2 yellows. It's a trend that has to change. And I don't know what it's going to take. I think Noonan has to step in and, stop the chirping, stop the some of the tackles. I mean, some of those calls were ridiculous, and we're still dealing with different referees, and it's happening all over MLS. So we're not immune. It's not just us. Everybody else is dealing with this. So I just see hopefully an improvement in attitude and, going about your gamesmanship and lessening those yellow cards. That's going to be key for this season.
My take on your take was A+ for equidistant. That's a good use of the word. You did it awesome. I'm happy for that. I'm trying to remember. We have the Pigeons coming in on Saturday. They have a whole week's of rest. There is one small rumor. This is more about fans. We're not about rumors, but it appears that Angulo is going to Ecuador. It sounds to me like there's some smoke about bringing in another striker. I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't think there's anything for us to go. I don't have the pulse of the FCC underground. That's not my. I leave that to other podcasts to do speculation. But it sounds like I, even and I'm sure this is true for you, Richie, at some point, we're like 5 or 6 games in. Other sports, by the time you start, you're not allowed to bring anybody else in.
Right.
Maybe you could hire, maybe you get somebody off the streets or something. But soccer's a different animal. But even I was going, we're going to get a striker like 8 games into the season. How is we're going to integrate him and who's going to sit down and who's going to go? There's a lot of questions. That's interesting, but that's at least it's showing that the front office wants to win and win now. So that's the only thing we can do.
Right.
So with that, the unique perspective of Richie Baker. So I'm down with the Vanguard, and Richie goes, "Hey, whenever you get a chance, I would like to be on your podcast. I think I have a unique perspective." And I said, "Well, what is it?" He goes, "I just started watching soccer. I am here in the Bailey." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that is be on my show and explain your perspective." So kind of get in how you got into FC Cincinnati. And what I'm going to find out is that you said something earlier. You said, I didn't have any particular love for Brandon Vasquez. I didn't know that. But, right, if Lucho moved to another team, you would feel differently, right?
Okay, so, yeah, so, okay, so I guess I'll start back to where I got into it. Yep. And then we'll get to Lucho. Don't let me forget that. So I really don't have any love for soccer, as some people do who played as, through their youth and whatnot. I coached my kids, both my children, when they were in safe soccer, and that was just kind of a by default. It was our first year. They were passers. The coach, 2 weeks before the season started, needed to have back surgery, and they called everybody on the list, and I was the last guy. So I became a soccer coach. I spent a week learning the rules and then started coaching that weekend. After that, when the USL times were around, when the team was at UC, I went to a game there. I want to say in 2018 or 2019. I don't have a ticket with me right now. The year we did really well, and I was sitting on the opposite end of where the Bailey came in, marched in, and then went down. And my wife and I were sitting there, and I just said, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that as soon as possible. And unfortunately, I didn't know that I knew somebody that was a part of the Bailey and was a part of the whole entire culture to start with. I enjoy the sport. I just wasn't really involved in it. So a few more years down the line, just a couple years ago, I reacquainted with Alex, who's been somebody who's the Vanguard. We started talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm down there. I'm in the front row." He starts showing me all these pictures. Like, "Dude, you got to get me down there." He's like, "Yeah, absolutely." I came August or September of last year. That actually, it was in July. He let me use his parents' tickets, and we sat on the opposite end again, where the STC is up in the stands. We were watching, and the first guy that caught my attention to come back to it was Lucio. I said, "Who is that little guy running around with all that ferocity? That guy was insane. That's my favorite player on the field." I knew nobody on the team. Alex said, "Hey, if you want to come and check it out, we have tickets. My parents are coming tonight. Come and sit in their seats." We sat in the seats. I mean, 2 months later, I was down in the Bailey, was through the playoffs, and here I am now. I'm now acquiring one of Alex's season tickets for the rest of the season. I will be there every game.
That is an amazing perspective to go from 0 to 100 in a short term. So what's your experience of your first TQL Bailey experience for those who are like you, kind of new, want to go see the game but haven't been down to the Bailey, or see people in the Bailey and go, is that a rowdy mosh pit? Is that even safe to be there, particularly down low? So what's your experiences literally?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're literally front and center. I've every game I've been to, I am right behind the net, dead center. So for all the matches, I'm there screaming. But no, as far as it is, I've been saying that since I started going, which has only been a handful of months now. This is the most unique sporting experience I've ever experienced. And I mean, football, baseball, basketball. I'm a huge MMA fan, so within that too, there's no kind of experience where you can go and have as much love and interaction between a fan base than I don't know if it's like this for the rest of the league or, I imagine it is for soccer around the world because I know how big it is. But in the United States, like the love that these people just universally give is incredible. Somebody new that wants to come in, I mean, you're going to have a little bit of rowdy. We're a bunch of adults that love a team. So we definitely are rowdy, but within that, we are most certainly just loving. You're leaving, you're making sure everybody's okay. Last week at the game, one of the guys, Tom Beversdorf, he's been on your cast as well. His daughter was laying right behind us sleeping while we were watching the game. So
I had to be careful not to step on her.
right. I mean, so yeah, I mean, as far as rowdy goes, yeah, I mean, there's a level of rowdy, but the rowdy is pretty much, yours is how far extreme you want to go within reason, but we're all there loving that game. So, I mean, I think it's great. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. Every time I'm down there, I can't believe that I'm standing there. So
I haven't been to a football game in a little while, but the general consensus is that the lower couple of levels is that people get really, really drunk and get a little, angry. And I don't see that in the Bailey. I see people having some beverages and yelling at bad calls as everybody does in every sport. But I've never seen anybody go nuts. And people do. There are kids down there. So
yeah, I mean,
that low in the Bailey. I don't know if it's recommended, given what age you might have down there, but it's certainly even the Bailey is family friendly in most spots.
Most certainly, yeah, and I mean, everybody down there. I mean, if you're walking through, excuse me, they're bumping through. Oh, can I get through? Can I talk to somebody real quick? I mean, everybody seems to know everybody. I'm struggling to try to remember so many names being thrown at me because everybody start to see the same faces, and I'm like, oh, hey, again, you. So I'm terrible with names, and it's even worse now that I have several thousand new friends that are always like, hey.
You would think as a host of a podcast that I would remember people's names, even people I've seen for 6, 7, 8, 9 years. I still go, dude.
Yeah.
That again? Who is that again? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm that person. So for anybody that ever talks to me in the Bailey, I apologize now. That's not me. I won't remember. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't think you're alone because a lot of people just call me the dude with the cape. Oh, there's the cape dude. So I respond to most things.
Okay.
Mark, do you have anything to ask?
Well, Richie, I see that your last name is Baker, and
yes, sir.
I'm familiar with a Baker that's with the Vanguard, and it's not you. I think his first name is Ed.
Eddie, yeah.
Are you related in any way to Mr. Ed Baker?
Eddie is a friend, and as far as I know, I do not think we are related.
Well, what do you know? In the Vanguard, we have 2 Baker gentlemen enjoying life behind the net. In fact, chanting to, check the net. That is tremendous. So, Richie, what other I assume you go to Reds games, Bengals games, Cyclones. What's your flavor in all this? We've got a Mandalorian who's made the trip around everything. So what's been your sports experience here in town?
I mean, so as far as it goes, yeah, I most certainly spent some times, watching some Reds games. I've been to a couple of Bengals games. When I was younger, I most certainly went to a lot of Cyclone games. I'm actually kind of one of those people. I'm from Indiana, so I claim to be an Indiana guy. I am more of a Colts fan than I am a Bengals fan.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I by default I live in the Cincinnati market, so that's what's on TV. But yeah, I don't particularly have like like I said, MMA is kind of like my biggest sport as an individual sport prior to being a fan of soccer now. So there's not really like a single place that you would go to. So it's more of an on TV thing for me. Now this is kind of my outlet to get to go like really be in a crowd with a group of people and support a team.
I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
Okay.
How many of the chants do you know?
Okay, so by name?
No, no.
Okay, I
don't know
Shala.
the chants.
I know Shalala. Hey, it's in Cincinnati. Hey, hey. I can get through several of them about 70% or better. That's been one of the things where I've really just been every single time anybody's screaming, I'm just trying to figure out what it is. I've been through a few marches now. I did the opening day and all of those things. So I'm trying to really just, I want to know what they are.
If you ever want
to
learn the chants, you can always come to Sam Adams. We do chanting. We take chanting seriously at Sam Adams.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, for those, we in the brigade are open at Sam Adams. Unlike Nellie's, we are available to take guest appearances. So there's something to be said about that. Mark, I'm not even sure I told you this one too. We're planning a special Know an SG supporter bar. I'm not sure who mentioned it to me, but I love the idea. I'm trying to get one member of all the SGs that we're going to go visit, and it's going to be a pregame, and it's going to be a long pregame because we'll start over at DI and Hangar place, the Still House.
Still House.
We'll take some video and talk to have the supporter for that group tell us about their place. Then we'll walk over to Northern Row and we'll have a Pride member talk about the place. Then we'll go to Sam's and we'll talk about that. And then Holiday, and then Symphony. So I need for those who are listening, I need a Norden, I need a Pride, a DI, or Hangar, or both, or anybody who just wants to come and pub crawl, I guess at this point with us. And fifth line, I don't have to worry about fifth line. All I have to do is just say, hey, and they'll be there. I know.
Hey Josh, show up.
There you go. Hey Josh, we're gonna tailgate about 4 hours ahead of time.
Yeah, he'll be there.
4 hours? Oh, okay. That's kind of cutting it close, isn't it? So and you're welcome, and all the Vanguard members, because I don't know, you guys kind of just go to Washington Park. Where do you guys, the Vanguard, kind of hang out at these days?
So we hang out in a room we call the parlor room in the back of the Symphony. I kind of, myself and Aaron will occasionally, I think Aaron generally stays up at Still House because he starts the march up there. When I do the march, I'll run up there and hang out with him, but other times we're pretty much down there at the Symphony. Hanging out with Norden.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, before we go, let's figure out who's going to beat these damn pigeons on Saturday. By the way, it's a rare Saturday night. You know your team is good when they rarely play on Saturday night. We played on Wednesday, we played on Thursday, we played on Sunday afternoon twice. This is our first Saturday night game. I know at Sam Adams, they're like, why is the vibe so like mellow here? I said, it's Sunday at like 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Nobody's really, I mean, for football, that's like you're geared up, but for soccer, Sunday at 2 o'clock is like, we're not even awake yet.
Yes.
So I think it's going to be a much different vibe at Sam Adams.
Yes.
It's much different vibe at the game. It's going to be a really good experience. So score line, Richie, on Saturday night.
Oh, gonna put me on like that, huh? I'm gonna say
bad take, so it's okay.
I'm gonna say we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there 2-1.
Sounds good, Mr.
I think that's where we're at.
I'm going to submit that we are going to reach a clean sheet and win none of these 0-0s anymore. We've had enough of those. 2-0. I believe we see probably a Nabota goal, and we might get a Santos goal. So that's just my gut feeling on this. I'm just hoping we can take it. Beautiful night in upcoming in TQL Stadium. So 2-0. I believe Celentano deserves a clean sheet with a win, and that's what I believe is going to happen.
I think great minds think alike. I think it's going to be a little on the chilly side, but I think the boys are going to score in each half. That's what I think. No Miles Robinson, as he's in the U.S. men's team, no problem. Matt Bialska can hold it down. I don't think anybody is worried about Murphy or Keller for that matter. And who knows, we might see the first appearance of Hagelin. Who knows what's going to happen as far as this. But we now have options there. So I'm saying it's a 2-0 victory. So any last words, Richie?
No, I just thank you for letting me be on here and give my point of view. And I hope that anybody that's new is thinking about it, you need to get there. I'm telling you, it's an experience you need to enjoy.
I've heard this perspective even from experienced people, but this is the perspective this is why I do this show, is to promote this for people who just listen and are trying to figure out FC Cincinnati, because you don't need to be a hardcore 6-year veteran to be in the Bailey. Nobody is goaltending the place as long as you bring your voice and your heart. That's really all anybody wants. They don't check your privilege or whatever that means.
No, not at all.
So if you're into it, I don't know if your first game should actually be in the Bailey, but I think your second game should definitely be in the Bailey after you get to see it once.
I'm personally a go big or go home kind of guy. So, I mean, if you're there for a good time and you want to have some love for a team and enjoy the people around you, I'm about it. So get in the Bailey if you can get in there. If not, I mean, if you're unsure, I would say get to the side and make sure that it's kind of an environment you want to be in. But I'd get there. I'd get there as quick as possible.
There you go. Mark, last words?
Well, last word is, I don't know how unique this is, but we did talk about a tri-state coming together. Matt, I believe you're in your palatial estate in the great state of Ohio. I am, of course, in my wonderful condo here in Florence, Kentucky. And I believe Mr. Baker is probably residing in the state of Indiana.
Yes, sir.
This is great. This is the tri-state. This is the tri-state coming together for the orange and blue. I'm just happy for this. So that's the last word.
Fantastic. Yes, the entire Republic of Cincinnati is represented here as the tri-state. Mark, well said as always. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy that things are going well, and certainly good vibes and good thoughts, and we'll be pushing that as things move forward. I'd rather leave on this note. Everybody, enjoy our team, enjoy this podcast. You don't have to be me or Mark. You can be brand new and still have a fabulous time. And we don't mind. You guys can come up and say hi to us as well, and we can help you out, figure out the lay of the land, and figure out where you need to be. So I'm so happy to have you here, Richie.
Thank you.
It's been another wonderful episode here in FCC Supporter Square. I want to say that we just recently went over our 100th subscriber for both audio and video. So, hey, triple digits, that means we have to stay for a little while longer. So we're very happy. We're happy about that. We're happy to see you. And we will see you next week on FCC Supporter Square.